tell you about two endangered animals. We mentioned here the reason for our speech. The fourth box, I'm confident that your generosity and kind heart will be of great help for those innocent animals. This is showing enthusiasm, because we showed that we are enthusiastic about the topic. And the fifth one, my second point for today, is about the Bahraini bulbul bird. How did we know that it is introducing a new point? Because we said my second point. So it is what? Introducing a new point. The next box, if you could pay attention to the slide, you will find the numbers of those beautiful birds among the years, which is decreasing rapidly. This is a clear to the point of the slideshow. And the next one, I'm sure many of you here has seen this awful scene while driving. And what is this? We said E. What is E? Relate to audience's lives. Here we relate to the audience's lives. And finally, first, there are lots of cats that are astray in the street, starting the talk. And how did we know starting the talk? We see here the word first, so it reflects that we are starting our talk. Okay? In order to deliver a good presentation, you should know the good and bad traits of a presentation. Now we will find out. In this box, you will see both good and bad points of a presentation. We will read it together and then classify them. The first one, eye contact with the audience. Is it good or bad? Confused thoughts and unorganized ideas. Looking at the ceiling or the slides most of the time. Showing interest in the topic and enthusiasm. Bored and agitated during the presentation. Speaks clearly to the point. Now I'll give you some time to classify the points from good and bad. Okay, very good. So the eye contact with the audience is good. Presentation, show interest in the topic and enthusiasm, good. Speaks clearly to the point, it's also good. How about the bad presentation? Confused thoughts and unorganized ideas. So if your thoughts are confused and you're unorganized, of course your presentation will be bad. Looking at the ceiling or the slide most of the time without eye contact is also considered bad presentation. Bored and agitated during the presentation. Of course, if you are bored, you will never present a good speech or talk. Now, let us learn how to write a report. When writing a report, we follow these steps. First, identify your topic. So what is the major idea of your report? Number 2, specify the key points that you need to focus on your reports. So what are the major ideas that you will include in your reports? 3. Arrange these points in a logical order. After writing your points, try to arrange them in a logical order. 4. Identify subpoints that provide supporting details. After writing your major points, try to support them with more details. And finally, of course, you should review your report and make needed changes. Now, let us read this example of a report and match it with the major elements from the introduction, audience activities, recommendation, and finally conclusion. Let us read, then match the elements with the reports. I'll give you some time to read and think about the answers. Now let us check your answers together. Very good. So the first box is what? Activities. And how did we know activities? Because we mentioned here some of the activities like plays and games for kids, wonderful concerts. All of them are activities. 2 is what? Audience. And how did we know audience? Because we see here, we mentioned here families, people from all ages, and children. The third box is introduction. Why it is an introduction? Because we give the general idea and the major points that will be introduced later. The next one, conclusion. Why conclusion? Because we have the word overall. Overall, we usually write it at the end. And the final box is recommendation. And how did we know recommendation? We see the word here. Most of them recommended. That's why we chose recommendation. Okay? Now, choose a topic and practice writing a short report. This is an example of a short report. This is the report after arranging it together. Okay? Thank you for your attention and see you again.